Have you ever known that, according to data from the United States National Institute on Aging, more than 63% of men over the age of 80 feel that their morning vitality has completely changed, while nearly half are using dietary supplements without realizing that some ingredients may silently disrupt their hormones and affect the prostate, sleep, and even emotional balance. The truth is, no one is ever truly prepared for this stage of life. People often speak of old age as a time of rest, but very few ever mention the quiet moments, the feeling of gradually weakening each morning, or the nightly bathroom trips that come and go without anyone to talk to. The good news is you can still take control if you understand what these signs really mean. Today, I will walk you through 7 quiet but important truths to help you maintain your vitality and well-being as you age. Before we continue, please press subscribe and turn on the bell. If you find this content helpful, and feel free to type the number 1. If it does not quite fit your needs yet, you can type 0. I always read every single comment from you. The first truth is that loneliness does not come from absence, but from no longer being mentioned. There is something that very few people will tell you. When you reach the age of 80, you do not only begin to lose your physical health, but you also gradually lose the familiar voices that once made you feel present in this world. The phone rings less often, not because you have done anything wrong, but because many of the people who used to call are no longer here. Friends move into nursing homes, neighbors move away, and children grow up and become absorbed in their own responsibilities. You are still there, but silence starts to fill the hours that once echoed with laughter. Then one day, you realize that no one is waiting to hear your stories anymore. No one is expecting you to show up on Sunday mornings like before. The hardest part is not being alone, but the feeling that you are no longer an essential part of anyone's rhythm. That feeling touches something deep within your vitality. Because when the spirit is tired, your hormones and inner balance also begin to fade. You start to wonder if anyone would notice if you stayed in your room all day, if the bright memories you hold still live on in someone else's heart. But the truth is, your value has not disappeared. It is just that the old connections are closing and you need to plant new ones. You do not need a crowd. Sometimes just one person who understands you or a familiar stranger saying hello at the grocery store can be enough to warm your heart. Many studies have shown that simple but regular social connections help men over 60 maintain stable testosterone levels and significantly improve their mood. Try writing a letter, picking up the phone to call an old friend, joining a book club at the library, or simply sharing a memory with a young grandchild in your home. You will see that vitality does not come from age. It comes from being heard and being able to tell your story, because when someone still listens, it means you are still truly alive. The second truth is that the body does not only weaken, it also becomes unpredictable. There is a strange feeling that many people over the age of 80 experience but rarely speak about. It is the quiet instability that comes from within their own body. Some days, you wake up feeling fine. You can still move around, still do housework. Then just a few days later, you feel tired for no reason. Your sleep is restless. Eating makes you feel bloated. Your legs tremble slightly when you stand too long. The decline does not follow a straight path. It rises and falls like waves, making it hard to predict how tomorrow will feel. What truly drains people is not just the physical discomfort, but the sense that they are no longer in control of their own body. There may be nights when you sleep well, 3 days in a row, and then suddenly wake up at 3 in the morning for no clear reason. One day, you eat vegetables at lunch and feel fine. The next day, eating the same meal makes you feel uncomfortable. You begin to doubt yourself. Should you see a doctor? Or is it just something temporary? That uncertainty silently wears you down. Many still believe that loss of vitality is just a natural part of aging. But in reality, ongoing unpredictability is often a sign that the body is not receiving the right kind of support, especially in terms of hormones and prostate health. When hormone levels shift, functions like digestion, sleep, and even emotional balance can all be affected. The good news is you do not need to change everything. Just a few small habits repeated at the right time can make a big difference. Drinking a glass of warm water right after waking up, gently stretching your abdomen before bed, getting 10 minutes of sunlight each morning, or taking deep breaths while making tea. These small actions not only remind your body that it is being cared for, but they also help regulate the balance of male hormones and urinary function. According to the National Institute on Aging, men who maintain a steady biological rhythm after the age of 65 have up to 30% lower risk of testosterone decline compared to those who experience frequent insomnia or irregular eating habits. So listen to your body, not to worry, but to begin a gentle, steady, and compassionate routine with yourself each day. The third truth is that family roles gradually shift from being the guide to being guided. One day, you suddenly realize that the same people who used to ask for your opinion on every major decision are now the ones making decisions for you. It is not because you have lost your ability to think or judge, but because they are worried about you, and from that worry, the roles within the family begin to change. Your son wants to drive you everywhere. Even though you can still drive yourself, your daughter plans your meals, bedtime, TV schedule, and even the medications you take. All of it comes from love. But if this continues without mutual understanding, it can make you feel like an older child in your own home. That feeling causes quiet pain because you were once the one who led the way, who built the foundation for the family, who stood strong when others were unsure. Now, your words are not always heard as clearly as before. This does not only bring sadness, it also affects your hormones. The sense of losing control can disrupt the hormonal axis and lead to a faster decline in vitality. According to Dr. Abraham Morgentaler from Harvard Medical School, maintaining personal autonomy is a key factor in supporting testosterone balance in older men. If you are going through this feeling, remember that setting boundaries is not selfish. It is a way to preserve mutual respect within the family. You can gently say that you appreciate their care, but you want to decide your own bedtime. You still enjoy choosing your own meals each evening. You can share that doing your own grocery shopping or driving around the neighborhood helps you feel valued and independent. These actions help keep your nervous system engaged, support the balance of your thyroid, adrenal glands, and other male hormones. and sustain a steady flow of health from within. Do not trade silence for peace. Speak gently but clearly, because you are still an important part of this family, not because of your age, but because you are the root from which everyone grows. The fourth truth is that surviving does not mean you are truly living. There is a quiet kind of sadness that many people over the age of 80 carry with them each day. It is a feeling of still being alive but having no one left to share the past with. When you have said goodbye to your life partner, your siblings, and familiar neighbors one by one, you begin to feel like the only person still holding the pieces of those old memories. No one remembers that summer afternoon when the whole group played dominoes in the backyard. No one knows the meaning behind the old porcelain cup you have kept since 1965. Every story seems to fall into silence because there is no one to nod in agreement when you say, remember that time. You still wake up early. You still make coffee for 2 out of habit. And then suddenly remember there is only one. That feeling quietly affects your brain, reducing activity in the areas linked to memory and emotional regulation. And when those areas slow down, male hormones like testosterone can decline more easily. According to Dr. John E. Morley from St. Louis University, who has extensively studied the effects of loss on the health of older men. The feeling of losing an old companion can have a long-term impact on hormonal function and emotional well-being. Yet even in that loneliness, there is still something deeply valuable. It is the right to tell your story. Share your memories with your grandchildren, your younger neighbors, or a new friend at the community center. Not so they fully understand, but so that you can hear those memories again in your own voice. Doing this helps keep the memory centers of your brain active, supports the pituitary and hypothalamus in sending steady signals to the reproductive system, and keeps your internal rhythm more balanced. That is why older adults who frequently tell stories, write journals, or read old memories aloud to others often have more stable hormonal and emotional health. You do not need to erase the past in order to move forward. You simply need not let it pull you down. Give it a way out through your voice, through a letter, or through a smile when you remember. Because when you are still telling your story, it means you are still living fully and honestly with yourself. The fifth truth is the silence of nighttime urination that you never talk about. No one ever told you that one of the quietest changes after the age of 80 would arrive in the middle of the night. It is the moment you wake up, not because of a noise, not because of a bad dream, but simply because of one small need that keeps repeating night after night. It is the urge to urinate during sleep. At first, you might think it is because you drank water too late. Then you try not drinking, but still find yourself waking up. Eventually, you begin to realize that this is no longer random. There are nights when you get up twice, even 3 times, stepping out of bed in the dark with weaker legs and a foggy mind. And what truly matters is not just the lost sleep, but the feeling that you can no longer control something as basic as this. That quiet worry lowers your sleep quality, leaving you tired in the morning and draining your overall vitality. When sleep is repeatedly interrupted, your nervous system and hormones cannot fully recover. This affects your prostate, your male hormones, and your emotional balance According to the American Urological Association, more than 70% of men over 80 wake up to urinate at least twice each night. But fewer than 30% of them ever look into the cause or make the right lifestyle adjustments. This shows how silently this symptom is being accepted, even though it can be changed. You only need to reduce fluid intake after 7 in the evening. Stretch your lower abdomen before bed. Elevate your legs slightly with a pillow to improve circulation. And especially avoid salty foods or packaged meals at night. These small steps can noticeably reduce the pressure on your prostate. If possible, gently massage your lower belly or apply a warm layer of herbal oil to stimulate blood flow in the lower region. These simple actions do more than reduce nighttime urination. They also send a positive signal to your hormonal system and help restore male biological rhythms in a natural way. So if you have ever walked through the night while no one noticed, remember that you are not alone and you can begin to make a change starting tonight. The sixth truth is that the more you hide your fragility, the more exhausted your body becomes. There is a very familiar response seen in many older adults. It is the habit of silently enduring as you feel pain in your knees, but do not mention it. Your hands tremble when pouring tea, but you try to hide it. You feel tired when standing too long, but still push yourself to finish the task. It is not because you do not feel fatigue, but because you do not want others to think you have grown weak. Yet this quiet effort adds more burden to your body. Every time you force yourself, instead of listening to what your body needs, your nervous system has to work harder to compensate for the lack of stability. Over time, this leads to hormonal imbalances, elevated stress hormones, and a gradual decline in vitality. According to Dr. Michael Irwig, a men's hormone specialist at George Washington University, hiding fatigue and not allowing yourself to rest at the right time can cause testosterone levels to drop more quickly in older adults. It is not that your body can no longer recover. It is that your body is waiting for your permission to rest. Try to remember the last time you told your children or grandchildren that you needed help carrying something, or the last time you allowed yourself to sit down and rest for 10 minutes after doing the dishes. These small moments are actually ways to preserve the deepest parts of your energy. When you let your body breathe gently, your heart rate slows down, blood vessels relax, and your male hormones are released more steadily. You do not need to prove that you are still strong in order to be respected. In fact, knowing when to rest is what earns real respect. A senior doctor in New Jersey once told me that he always teaches his 80-year-old patients how to recognize fatigue and know when to pause. Because resilience is not about how much you can do, but about whether you are wise enough to manage your strength at the right time. So if your hand trembles while opening a jar, if your legs ache after a trip to the market, sit down, breathe gently, and remind yourself that you are not weaker. You are simply learning to slow down, and that, more than anything, is what builds your strength from within in the most lasting way. The seventh truth is that caring for your vitality at age 80 is not out of reach. There is a common belief among many men after the age of 80 that says, at this age, what is left to take care of? Many believe that their vitality is gone. Their hormones have stopped, and their prostate is naturally declining. But the truth is, your body has never stopped responding. It is just that you may have stopped listening to it for too long. Research from the National Institute on Aging shows that male hormones, especially testosterone, still have the capacity to be regulated and produced at age 80 if they are gently and properly supported. What matters is that you do not need strong medications or complicated exercise routines. You only need gentle, consistent actions that are appropriate for your age. For example, a small bowl of soup with unsalted pumpkin seeds in the afternoon. Sitting up straight and taking 10 deep breaths before bed. A teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil after dinner. Or simply letting the morning sun touch your face. These small habits can activate the hormonal pathways from your pituitary gland and adrenal glands to the hypothalamus. This, in turn, supports hormonal balance and helps prevent stagnation in the prostate. Leading experts, including Dr. Kevin McVeary from the American Men's Health Research Center, have pointed out that the prostate can still be well maintained by reducing mild chronic inflammation through daily lifestyle adjustments. This means that when you get enough sleep, eat less salt, take a short walk after meals, or occasionally massage your lower abdomen with warm essential oil. You are not just seeking temporary comfort. You are actively supporting your hormonal health. Look at your morning routine today. Are you still taking the same vitamin pill without knowing whether it is helping or disrupting your hormones? Are you eating the same familiar dish without knowing if it might be causing slight inflammation in your prostate? You do not need to change everything in one day. You only need to begin asking questions about each of your habits, because when you start asking, you are taking back control over your body. And your vitality at 80 has not disappeared. It has simply been waiting for you to return and care for it in a gentler, wiser way. After going through these 7 quiet truths, you might feel a little stirred inside. Perhaps there is some regret for not knowing these things earlier. But there might also be a small spark of hope beginning to appear, because you do not need to change everything all at once. You just need to choose the simplest thing to begin with tonight. It could be a glass of warm water instead of strong tea, a gentle stretch before lying down, or an honest question to yourself. Have I treated my body kindly today? You can start anywhere as long as you start. And if you keep doing that long enough, you will see that your vitality is still there. It has simply been waiting for the right moment to be awakened, and perhaps tonight is that moment. You and I have just walked through 7 truths that most people over the age of 80 quietly experience, yet very few ever speak about. Not because they do not notice, but because they have become used to enduring in silence. You have heard about the feeling of no longer being called by name, about a body that changes unpredictably, about waking up at night to urinate and staying awake until morning, about how your role in the family quietly shifts, about the emptiness of memories that no one else remembers. And even about the times your legs ache or your hands tremble, but you hide it so no one worries. You might think that all of these things are simply part of getting old, that there is nothing you can do. But the truth is, your vitality is still there. It only needs to be awakened the right way. Not with strong medication or extreme exercise, but with very small and ordinary things. A light, low-salt meal in the afternoon, a deep breath before bed, a gentle stretch of your lower abdomen after going to the bathroom, or a warm glass of water each morning to awaken your inner rhythm. When you begin to care for your body with kindness and understanding, you help stabilize your hormones. Sleep becomes easier, and your prostate gets the rest it needs at the right time. You do not need to return to being 60. You only need to make 80 feel a little softer. And that power is already in your hands. If you found today's message helpful, please press subscribe and type the number 1 below. If it does not quite match your situation, feel free to type 0. I always read and improve these messages based on your honest feedback.